trying to get her in the picture. She's on my lap. Look at that. So I've got the blanket. And I've got a cushion underneath, hoping that it would be high up enough. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live. I am so happy that you are all here. And Layla is here as well. Now, the thing is, next week in the live, we're going to have a party because Layla, look. Layla, she's going to be having her birthday. So next week, Sunday, I do believe it is Sunday, Layla is turning 16. And she's such a cutie. Look at that little face. Look at her little face like that. So we're going to have a big party next week because obviously we've got to celebrate. And of course, you know, when she's this age, we need to, you know, do as much as we can with her and, you know, take lots of pictures. She's been in the video this week, hasn't she? So yeah, she was, you know, I sort of, when I'm filming like that, I try to do it all in a weekend because not that the editing takes, you know, that takes longer, but it's just you're in the flow and everything's there and it's all set up. And so, you know, I do one and then make sure it's okay. And then the next one, and so on. And yeah, she noticed the setup and she was just, yeah. Come on. No, are we going? There we go. That was that. Maybe she'll come back. I'll put this to the side. I'll put this properly now. So yes, next week. Oh, Donna, are you in Belgium? Well, next week we have Rachel's party, Layla's party, and then the weeks after that, 2 weeks after that, we will. Oh, there's a hair. We will be in Belgium as well. So we're going to go away for 2 weeks to see our parents. And so, yes, there is cat hair. Yeah, we will be away. So we'll be in Belgium as well. So, no, it's not a new dress. I just found it stuffed away in the winter cabinet or winter box. No, actually not yet the winter box, the in-between box, sort of in between seasons. So, yeah, it's a newly found dress. Always nice to find a dress that you think, oh, I forgot about that. And then it's a new dress, isn't it? Hi, everyone. Welcome to the live. I hope you will enjoy it here today. I am really happy that you're all here. I can see all the lovely names again. Welcome and thank you, everyone, for being here. And yeah, I just need to do this. There is a hair from Layla, of course, because she was stuck on there. I would leave it. I've got it, but I was worried that it would get in my mouth and then we'd be further away from continuing this live, I'm sure. So there we go. Yes, Paige, shop your closet. And I had forgotten about this dress, to be honest. Now, I do remember why I stuffed it away, because it's a nice dress. It's lovely. And, you know, it's one of those perfect holiday dresses because it's wrinkled, but you can't tell. But what it does have is this, look, and it's a deep V thing at the back. And I'm not too, if it's a nice warm day and a nice warm evening, that's fine. But like now I can feel it's cool at the back. So yeah, the fabric, I don't think it's cotton. I'm sure it's not cotton. Can I find the label? You guys, finding the label. Upside down. It doesn't help. Oh, cotton. Yes, it's cotton. Sustainable cotton even. Hey. But yeah, there we go. But yes, no, I think this will go with me to Belgium even, or, you know, on holiday when we go next, because it is a perfect holiday dress with that back, that sort of, oh, yes, I need a shawl, Helene. I do need a shawl. And I usually wear that Mobius shawl that I made with the Harlequin, because it is this color. But that's something wintry. So I'm thinking maybe I need to make a new one. Maybe I need to make a new shawl to go with this. We will see. So, it does breathe, and it's sort of airy at the back, but not when it's cooler. When it's really hot, it's lovely, but you need to just think about it when it's not that warm. Right, yes. And of course, with Layla being around and here, I did not get a chance to get my shawl. Hella, I'm glad you were able to, sort of be here tonight. It's a shame. People do visit it at the most inconvenient times, don't they? Why do they have to visit? Leave you alone. I tell them, please, no, Sunday evening, no, I'm not here. I won't be answering your phone. I won't be answering your text. Nothing like that. You can't come round either. Oh my goodness. It's just, it's that sacred time of the week where we have our little chat, we have our little get together, talk all about crochet, and of course, all about what is happening on the channel. So much is happening. I have made a list again because otherwise we're just going to go astray. And of course, today I am talking about how I used AI or ChatGPT to help me with the blanket. Or did I? The title says I tried to use it. Well, actually, look, there's nothing on the sofa this time because I've hung it up. Look at it. Yeah, we're having a chat. There's nothing there. Do you want the... Hang on. I know what you want. Do you want this blanket? Do you want this blanket to lie on? Huh? There you go. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Oh, cool. It's been really weird because normally she doesn't sleep on that blanket without me there. And so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. So there we go. So yes, the question is, did I manage to use ChatGPT for the blanket? Let's find out later. Okay. So yes, Bridget, very good idea. Tell people you're busy on a Sunday evening and you can't possibly do anything else. Anyway, so the week has been, see what I mean? It's been a busy week because we started the CAL. And lots of you have already made those 6 squares. I mean, honestly, how quickly do you guys crochet? I can't do it that quick. Anyway, I felt there was a lot of panic about where to find the pattern, where to find the links and things like that, where to find the color table. Now, I did put, you know that I do make sure everything is, first of all, in the video. The written pattern, there's always a link underneath the video, which will take you straight to the blog post. Okay? So please, next time, just stay calm and breathe. Okay? There is a link in the description box. There is a link also probably to the website, but you must follow the link that will go straight to the pattern. Okay? If you have bought the pattern, if you have bought the pack from us, you will have had an email right at the time that video came out, or maybe 5 minutes later. Check your spam. If it's the first time that you're doing this, it might have ended up in your spam. Or also, Because it would have been a long email with an attachment or something like that, and that might have made it go to your spam. Always check your spam, okay? We do what we say we are going to do. So don't panic. It will be there. It is there. And also when we go away, we can program. She's gone now. We can program the emails and we will be around. I'm taking my computer. Everything will be checked. Okay. That's why it went to spam. Okay. So Dirk puts it into our email provider and not from the website. That's why it's different. Okay. So that's probably why you had to allow it to be going into your normal emails. But now that you've done that, the rest should be fine. Okay. We have got some people, we have got about 4 emails that bounce. So if you are one of those 4 people, please email us and tell us your correct email address. Okay. No, Hester, if you have bought the pack from us, we will have your email address. So that's the email address that we're going to use. Okay. If you did not buy the pack from us, the link is in the description box. You can go there and it will take you straight to the blog post, to the written pattern. Now, it is not a downloadable PDF because it's a blog post. So it's just like, a blog, a page. But the reason why I do that is so that I will be, once the cal is finished, I will be selling an embellished pattern as a PDF in our pattern store. And then you can buy the whole thing. But of course, we are doing it step by step. So you get the bite-sized pieces in a blog post, which you can screenshot. You can print it. So I think it says something on the corner where you can just do print page or something like that. And it prints it all off for you. Or you can just keep that tab open. Just bookmark the tab, keep it open and go back to it each time you need it. If you're on an iPad, on an iPhone, on a computer, it all works, just to leave the thing open. Okay. So yes, some of you might have also have a full email box, and I know it says unlimited, but that's not, there is a limit to your email box. So you might not believe me, and I have got 61 again. But I made sure in my emails, I had 0 the other day. That was 2 weeks ago. And now it's slowly built up again, but 61 is nothing, right? So I will be, once tomorrow, like on a Monday morning, I generally open my emails and I delete a load and I unsubscribe from a load of things as well, from emails that I just don't read. Of course, don't unsubscribe from ours because you're doing the cal. You need to make sure those keep coming in. If you want to unsubscribe afterwards, that's fine, but we won't be sending any until, you've bought the next cal, kind of thing. Okay. So that's what happens. So I make sure I delete all the emails that I don't need, from shops, from spam, from all kinds of things that, I don't need. Because you need a bit of calm and zen in your life. I have talked about this before, and it will only be problematic from a couple of thousand emails. I know, darling, but some of you have a lot of emails, and we've talked about this before. You've got to keep on top of that. Otherwise, it just becomes overwhelming and people just, but you keep on using that email address. You get your order confirmations on there. You get your tracking, whatever, so you need to make sure you have access to that email and you remain having access. Okay. Voila, Janet. Perfect. Thank you so much for that. It is easy. But you just need to stop panicking when all this happens. Okay. It is all there. It is all there for you to use. And It is all there free for you to use. Okay, all I'm asking is that you watch the video. And the reason why I am clever like that, I am teasing you like that, the reason why I put the color table at the end of the video is twofold. Okay, first of all, I want you to watch the tutorial closely with attention before you start crocheting. So you don't know which color you're going to use because the colors are at the end. And I want you to watch the whole video so that you will see at the end is the table. Now, every video for this cal is built in this way. First, we have a bit of memory, reminding us from where the pattern came. Then we have the tutorial. Then we have the table. Every video will be built like this. And so, yes, if you want to go and skip everything and go to the colors, fine. But please watch the video, because from now on, they're not going to be that familiar. Yes, the Anna square was familiar and we had to include it. We could not miss out on the Anna square. This is a square that started everything. Okay? And this is also the square that I used and that sparked all the whole blanket. The whole blanket. Okay? So that's where we're at. Now, I did give you the measurements for the square, but those are just a guideline. Okay? I don't really specify the hook size. People were like, what hook size am I going to use? No, you use the hook size that you usually use for that yarn. If you've never used that yarn before, then you have got to do one of the videos that I have to work out which hook size you're going to use. The gauge video or something like that, which hook size you're going to use. And I would hope that you have done your preparation, or that you have tried some of the patterns that we did before the cal and that you might have realized. Okay. Bob, your first cal and your first Anna square. Fantastic. Fantastic. Steph, fantastic. Yes. Glad you found it. Yes. Spam is always worth checking. Okay. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you. So, so that is, what you need to do. Use the hook size for the yarn that you are using. So in this case, the DK, this is sort of my standard yarn that I always use on this channel. And also, I see that people are trying to work to my measurements, which of course that is fine. But if you are going to make this amount of squares in a hook size that you're not used to working with, if it's awkward or if it's much smaller or much larger than what you usually use to get my measurements, then I would not keep up. I would not keep doing it, because I would get annoyed by the fact that my hook is behaving differently, or I might be splitting the yarn, or it might look different, or I might not find it so easy to do because I'm not using the hook size that I usually use. Okay, so that is where that comes from, that I don't specify the hook size, certainly not for the cal, because I want you to use the hook size that you usually use, and I want you to go like this. You see it? I want you to relax and use the hook size that you usually use. Enjoy using your hook size and make the squares to your size, to the tension, to the hands, to the hook size that you usually use. Okay? And it's your blanket. you are going to be making all the squares. The squares are made in such a way, designed in such a way that actually they will all be the same size as long as they've been made by the same person. Okay? So Darisha, of course, yes, it depends on the thickness, but ours should be fine. So when this is also, of course, yes, I mean, some of you are using your stash yarn. So if you are using different thicknesses, then you have got to make sure that you are doing the right gauge, because otherwise, the right size, because otherwise, you will encounter problems when you're joining. But if you're using the pack, if you're using all DK, all the same brand, then you should just be able to, Paige, there is a lot of wiggle room. The testers, Teresa, Julie, they have been making as many squares as they possibly could from the pack. And oh my goodness, thanks, Jan. Oh my goodness, they have been able to make so many more squares. So there is yardage enough to allow for you to use whichever hook size you want. That's why I am here, sitting here, telling you this, because you can, okay? I designed the cal in such a way that you can do that. And yeah, maybe I had some help with ChatGPT helping me with that, but let's talk about that in a moment. Oh my goodness. So is that clear? So just make sure that all your squares are the same size. Even if they differ from mine, it doesn't matter. They're all your sizes. They're all your squares. It's your blanket in the end. Okay. Now, having said all that, there is one square that's going to be slightly smaller. Now, I have hung up my blanket, and can you see that there is one square that's smaller? Can I spot it? Hang on, I know which design it is, but I can't really tell. So the square that we're doing on Wednesday is going to be slightly smaller. So please don't panic, but it does stretch. Okay. So it does stretch, and it's no problem. So you can't tell. All the others are fine. This particular one is a little bit, but it will stretch. So please don't panic. So on Wednesday, I'll be ready to start replying. Don't panic, because yes, so a lot of questions that you have are being answered in that introduction video. I've had to post that several times this week. So we are, and also I will tell you in a moment more as well, because obviously I was having these conversations with ChatGPT about this blanket, and soon you'll know all about it. Okay. It was manic. It was so manic. But I think I've told you everything I needed to say about that, about the cal. Okay. So yes. So really what I wanted to talk about today is the design process, how a blanket is designed and what stages it goes through, and where I thought I could use some help, maybe even from ChatGPT. I thought everybody seems to be getting lots of help from that. So let's see what what help I can get. No, don't do that, Sandy. Do not change hook size. Just let that square be a little bit bigger. It does stretch. There's no problem. Just please. Trish, if you watched the video, the introduction video, you would have known how many patterns we have. Plus, I've seen your question. I have not answered it because I will answer it in a moment. Okay? Lindsay, exactly. ChatGPT can't crochet. Obviously, I knew that before I started. I knew that. No worries, Trish. Sometimes, I've got to, there's so many things I have to say. Okay. Yes, so this blanket came into existence, obviously, because I wanted to make something that would be like a memory blanket. That's the word I used in the tutorial as well. I wanted to have a blanket where we could look at it and say, this is from that one, that's from that one, that's from that one, and take the stitches from the projects from 10 years. All the 10 years, we've done lots of lovely projects, and I wanted to reprise those stitches. Now, you will think, oh, but so that means we've done all of the stitches? Actually, there's one brand new square. There's the Anna square, which was very familiar. And then all the others, actually, yes, I just went to the old patterns, pick them, copy, paste into the new pattern. But then, I had to make sure that that pattern I copy pasted fitted into the Anna square. Because this is like a template, you see. So what we have on the inside here, right, that we are taking that out and replacing it with the copy paste from the old patterns. So next week we have the autumn walk. And so I think it was week 3 that I used for that. So I went to the autumn walk pattern, copy pasted week 3 and pasted it in there. Now, it was not as simple as that, obviously, because I had to see these here are 31 stitches. So without the boxes. Okay. So every pattern that I copy pasted had to be a length of 31 stitches, or a multiple that worked in 31 stitches. Some of them did, some of them didn't. But it was great fun trying to, do that. So obviously, the idea, the design of the stitches throughout the years, the design of the copy paste into here, that all happened in my head, right? Who said it? Lindsay said, ChatGPT can't crochet. ChatGPT would never be able to come up with this idea of having the stitches from previous projects, put them into a square, and then, paste them into the blanket, basically. So, of course, that was all my idea, all my brain going, did you see it working? Can you see it working? All the cogs, right? And of course, I've told you this before. Emma and I, one of the moderators, we sat down one afternoon, and I had been playing around with the pegs for colors, and I said, look, I need your input. I need to just let's try and find a lovely color palette for this anniversary cal. And I can't remember who came up with this idea of, but why don't we look at all the other colors that we used in all those projects that you've just chosen, and see if we can use the main colors from that. And so that's what we did. Right? So that's where the colors came from. So the design obviously came from my head. The colors also came from my head and Emma's head, because of course we had chosen those colors previously also, so in a way, I just came up with this. We also copy pasted the colors, and they just, they all went together. I'm like, that pale rose there, but it all goes together. So I'm thinking, yes, we copy pasted this blanket from the last 10 years into a memory blanket to talk about, all the different stitches that we've done over the 10 years. But there is a time. Bob, yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. No, all the squares will, if you are worried about the size of your squares, don't worry too much, because once you start joining them, a lot will straighten out. And they will all become the same size, as long as you stick approximately to the same size. Okay. This is another reason why I don't like this dress. Look, because it does that. Okay, so at one point in the designing of a blanket, and I call that the mathematical stage. Okay. At one point, you have to start crunching numbers. And that's not my favorite part. I'm happy when I'm designing. I'm happy when I'm choosing colors. But then you start, and yes, of course, this time part of the mathematical design was also fitting it into here. But that wasn't too bad, because I saw that as a challenge. I was reusing stitches, so I didn't have to come up with new stitches, but I did have to rejig them, remold them into the video. But then I had to work out how many squares I was going to need, how many squares of each design, and how many squares in each color. Okay. And usually I do that in an Excel format. So I put things in an Excel sheet so I can count, so I can see on the side how many times I've used certain things. But this time I thought, I've got an idea. I'm going to ask ChatGPT, because it's a mathematical problem, isn't it? At that moment in time, you can break this down into a mathematical problem. So I have 13 colors of squares. Okay, 13 colors for the squares. We have 15 balls, but two balls are black for the joining and the border. Okay, so I asked ChatGPT, to give me, hang on a minute, because I've got to think how my prompt was correct. I might not be able to remember it completely now, but so we needed 54 squares to make a 9x6 grid. So I asked ChatGPT to give me 54 projects, 9 designs in 13 colors, okay, to then, and then this is a big thing as well. You can only use each color 5 times. So you have to, this is that for me at that moment in time when I'm doing that, that's really hard to stick to the limit of how many times you can use a certain color. And I thought ChatGPT is going to be brilliant at this, right? And so I put it in. So I put it in and I said, I've got 54 projects made up of 9 different designs. And I gave him the names of the designs because I thought that will make it easier for me as well. So I gave him 9 names. And then I gave him the 13 colors. And then in these 13 colors, and each color must only be used a maximum of 5 times. And then, that is the right thing, isn't it? So 45, 6 of each. Yeah, 9 designs, 6. So anyway, I put it to ChatGPT and then it went like, yes, so this is, so, and it replies to you, doesn't it? It has a conversation. So what you want me to do is the following, blah, blah, blah. And then it asked me, would you like this in a balanced way or a particular color heavy way? And I was like, oh my goodness, this is promising because it knows what I'm talking about. And I said, yes, please do it in a balanced way. Yeah, okay. So it did give me a list of the projects and then the colors. But of course, Kylie, yeah, I don't know, but it sounds, I mean, if it was a woman, it would have had a much nicer name, not ChatGPT. There we go. Like Linda or something like that. Or something. So, like Alexa, Anyway, we don't have one, so I don't need to. Be quiet. So yes, it came up with a list in sort of pages, Excel format type thing, columns. And I thought, this is fabulous. See, and I did this after Emma had left. And I said to Emma, I might try this. So I did it straight away. And so I was texting her and I was saying, Emma, I've got the list already, and I was so happy. But then, oh, Angela, sorry. But then I started looking at this list. And of course, ChatGPT would never have known, for example, my project called Lizzie, right? He would not have said, yes, let's use these and these colors because that's the colors we use in the blanket, you see. He would never have known. So I had to check every project and made sure that actually it was the colors that we had used in that project. And then I thought, oh gosh, this is a waste of time now because yes, I've got a list and it made me a list, but I haven't been able to, I can't use the list because I have to adjust it to the colors that I previously used in those individual projects. But then I started jiggling the colours about, of course, and I thought, hang on a minute, where's the duck egg? Or so some colours had not been used, and other colours had been used more than 5 times, because I thought that is an easy instruction. 13 colours, do not use them more than 5 times. I think, and he asked me, would you like it balanced? And I thought, well, yeah. You asked me if you wanted it balanced. Why are you leaving colours out? Why are you using some colours more than 5 times? So then I was like, okay, let's try this again. So I kept asking it. And after a while, I got an error message. There was a red message saying something irregular has happened. You are now being shut off by ChatGPT. Goodbye. So yeah, that was the end of that. And that's why ChatGPT is a man. Exactly, Julie. I mean, it did give me the layout. It gave me the layout. But yeah, I had to change so many designs, so many colors. So yes, we have 9 different designs. We have 2 weekly videos from now on, because otherwise we're not going to get there with our squares. And we have hopefully a nice balanced division of the colors over those squares. So you might think, yes, of course, things like Jam Jar Happiness, Lizzie, Autumn Walk, they will be very color heavy towards the color that was used in the original project. Okay. Others, I've really had to throw in all the colors that I could, right? So that's why that happened like that. But yes, I mean, it was hilarious. So here I was, and I was like, okay, at least I have a color list. I have a column with my projects on the side, my 54 projects, my names of my projects, and then against that, I have colors, but I'm going to have to rearrange them myself. So yes, I ended up doing my old trick of counting how many times have I used this, how many times have I used that, and not going over the colors like that. But yeah, that was so, and I thought, yeah, I tried to use it, and I really wanted it to help me. And that's not even, that's like a mathematical question. It's not crochet that I was asking it to do. It was just dividing colors and patterns over so many projects. That's not difficult, surely. But it didn't work. So then this is not the end of the story. Okay, there is more. So if your brain is already hurting, I've seen someone say, my brain's hurting. It's going to hurt more. It is. I had a proper headache from it. So we make all the squares. So about a month later, both Emma and I had been making the squares. Emma was really helpful. So thank you again, Emma, for helping me make all the squares, because of course, I had to film them as well. She made some, I made some. It was a great collaboration. So I had all the squares. And then, of course, I was going to have to lay them out. So I thought, I'm going to lay them out, but why not ask ChatGPT? Because, again, this is one of those time-consuming tasks. in the process of designing a cowl. And I'm like, let's see, what can go wrong? I can upset it again, but what could possibly go wrong, right? So I enter into ChatGPT, and this is also something that we're going to do. So don't worry about keeping your squares labeled and separate from one another. All you'll be doing after you've made all the squares is arranging them according to color, making sure you don't put the same designs next to each other. So all your blankets will be unique. Okay, so don't worry about keeping them separate and keeping them in, in different, just stack them. Doesn't matter. Okay, in the end, they're all going to be mixed up anyway. So, I mean, that's what I did. I just stacked them. Oh, Emma stacked them really nicely, and I thought I need to make sure I keep them well. But yeah, we just stacked them all together. But yeah, no need. In the end, they all got jumbled up anyway. So I asked ChatGPT, could you provide me with a grid of these colors? And I gave him the number of each color. So the number of squares I had per color. So for instance, I had, how many teal have I got? 3 teal? 1, 2, I have 3 teal, so many purple, so many this, anyway, right? So I gave him the number of each color that I had, and I told him 9 by 6, a grid 9 by 6, all these colors. And I thought, okay. And again, we had a conversation, and he said, so you would like me to blah, blah, blah. Yes, I would like you to do that. And there it was. Seconds later, I had a table, and I was like, this has saved me so much time. This means I can do some lemon painting in a moment, because this is going to save me time. I can do a bit of painting instead of working out where to put these squares. How wrong was I? So Derek walks in, and I'm like, darling, can you print this off? So I copy pasted the table. I sent it to him. He went and printed it off, and he came back. He said, here you are. And I'm like, okay. Would you like to sit down and read out to me in this order so I can just lay out the squares and that will be it? Right? It's going to be so easy because obviously it's done. Okay. So he sits down in the sofa. I'm here with my stack of squares. I've just got them in color order. I was just going to put them according to color, and then I would, replace according to pattern. But anyway, so he starts reading them out, and I'm putting them down. Yeah, and it's going well. But then he's like, teal. And I'm like, I don't have a teal anymore. You're in the wrong row. No, he says, it says teal. I'm like, I've got 3 teals. I've already used 3 teals. Why is there a 4th teal in there? And I'm like, are we going down this lane again? Why? How come ChatGPT has put in 4 teal? Actually, in the end, there was 5 teals. And I told him there was only 3. Did it with some other colors as well. And then I told it 9 by 6. Sorry, I keep saying 9 by 6, and it only gave me 9 by 5. So we had a 10th row on there. And so then Derek started, and I'm like, there's something's wrong because I've got so many squares left and I've got 9 already here, but I hadn't counted that actually I'd only put down 5. So once again, it didn't do what I asked it to do. Mathematical question. Why? Why is it that something as simple as that, give me a grid of 9 by 6 with these, and I gave him a total of I gave him a total of the 54 squares. So I had 54 colors. Can't do it. So I was like, there goes my painting time. you know? And I was like, dude, but are you sure? And he's like, yeah, but I'm reading, come on. And then we started looking, because I hadn't looked at the table. I just copy pasted it because he walked in and I was like, oh, darling, can you print this off? And I thought, then he can read it out to me. That makes it a lot easier than me having to put on the, I'm like, why? Why can I not be helped? Why? I think, technology, it's all good and have you seen that picture that Dirk made of me with the with the paparazzi? That's such fun, isn't it? That's so nice. It's such fun to do that. Everybody knows that's a little bit of AI. They even gave me Birkenstocks with heels. Maybe I should mail them to ask, could they design some Birkenstocks with heels? But that's great fun. And also what's nice is if you can make a lovely background and you've taken a picture against the white wall in the hallway and you've made a lovely background, I think that's lovely as well, but for simple, I think it's simple, those sessions that you're sitting down working out what I'm calling, what I said earlier, the mathematical stage of your square, of your blanket, how many colors, how many designs, how many, and then working out where to put them. I'm just like, that should be straightforward. A computer should be able to do that, surely. Yeah, Sandy, it did work out well because obviously I've redone it. I had to, maybe some of them are still in that place. But yeah, I had to make sure that I had used all my squares, that I had my 6 by 9, that I had all the squares, none of the designs were next to each other. There might be, but, and yeah, so I was just hoping that, these kind of things would go quicker. That's all. Exactly, Amanda. If it can help, I'm sure it can help, but we still need to look at things and use our brain, use our common sense to make sure. Thank you, Nancy. Yes. Yeah, a little thing to put around my bra strap. Yeah. Okay. This is why, sometimes you put things away, but you forget why. And now I remember. Look. Thank you, Nancy. I don't think ChatGPT would have been able to sort that problem. Yes, of course. Of course, we still have our common sense. We still have our logical thinking. A computer only knows what it knows. And for me, in a way, maybe I'll try again, with the next cal, because when it's lines, if the next cal is lines, or when we do the next lines, the working out of how many times you can use a color for a row, that takes such a long time for me. And it's really, I can feel my brain working almost. You really need to, Dirk knows when I'm doing that, he walks in, he looks at me and he just turns around and walks back out because he knows what I'm doing at that point in time. And he just knows that I've just got to concentrate on that and just get it done, because otherwise when you try to talk or or do something else in between or are distracted, you just lose your you're working out your train of thought, and it's just, you have to do it again and again. But yeah, that is one of the hardest things to do for me. It's not the designing of the stitches, it's not the making sure that they work out, it's not the thing, it's the yarn usage per color. That's hard for me, Organizational thinking, yeah, Janet. Yes, of course, Mandy. Yeah, you still need to review, you still need to check what's been done. And of course, here with this blanket, of course, there were things that it couldn't know. For example, which colors were predominantly used in each project, and I had to amend that. So in a way, maybe it would have been more efficient had I not involved ChatGPT. It would have been more straightforward, and maybe I wouldn't have been disappointed in the fact that it didn't help me, because I was very hopeful. I was. But in the end, I am glad I did it, because, yeah, it showed me something, right? It showed us simple mathematical things still need checking and still need sorting. And I mean, yes, of course, giving the grid layout, it would not have worked out because obviously I didn't have those squares. So, very quickly I worked out that actually that was wrong, but on the other hand, it was, well, thinking back now, it was fun. But in the moment itself, I was like, oh, no. But yeah, I mean, it's all good fun, and I'm glad I did it. And yeah, it just, I won't be doing that kind of thing maybe again, but who knows? Yeah, so, oh, yeah. No, I did that. Obviously, I did the whole layout because from what I remember, I think it put 2 gold ones together as well. I did specify that. I did specify in the brief that none of the same colors should be touching. So that happened, and then the teal happened. I think there was 5 teals, and there was no one color in there as well. I can't remember which color it was, but yeah, it was a shambles, really. It would not have passed muster, and it would have been sent back to the drawing board. Well, it did, because I had to redraw it in the end. But yeah, it was good. It was good to do it like that and to try it. So that was my story about trying to use ChatGPT, and yeah, I hope it behaves next time. Before I go, I would like to also say we are going away. So Dirk and I are going to see our parents in Belgium, and we will be here next Sunday, but then in October for 2 Sundays we won't be here. Okay, so first of all, if you are still thinking about ordering anything, any yarn, we've got some cal packs left. Please do it as soon as possible, because although we might have cover, we don't want to, overwhelm that person. We'll talk about that next week. Also, if you are thinking of getting the Dream Plan Create journal for next year, please make sure that you get it before the 30th of September. So that's another 9 days. Okay. I'm taking my computer, and I will be ordering the printing of this book by the 2nd or the 3rd of October, so that this can go ahead and be printed to be then delivered to us at the end of October, beginning of November, and then we can send it out as soon as possible. Okay, so make sure you order this now, because they will not be available any other time. Okay, there are no reprints, no extras. I'm just ordering the ones that are being bought. Okay, so it's pre-order. And yes, if any of you are around on Saturday the 11th of October in London, for the Knit and Stitches show, what's the name again? I can't remember. It's a sort of a craft show. I will be on the catwalk showing off the Greenwood cardigan for Stylecraft. So that was a project made with Stylecraft. So I will be in the fashion show with that cardigan. So if you are around, on that Saturday and you're going to that show, please do come and have a look at the fashion show at 12 o'clock. And yeah, I might stick around after the fashion show for a little while on the Starcraft stand if you want to come and say hello to me. Alexandra Palace. Yes, it's in Alexandra Palace. And it is also, I think, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Thursday, Friday. Yeah, Wednesday is a bit too long, I think. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I think the show is. So, okay, Jan, I might take you up on that. Right, everyone. So, is that all I needed to say? So, I've written down something and I don't know what that... I order now. I thought it said video now. But yes, so I'll be here next week when we celebrate Layla's birthday. And then you will have to miss me for 2 weeks. But the videos for the Cal, the blog posts, everything will be programmed. Everything will be coming out at the same times. Okay, we will be here next week still. Okay, so no worries about that just yet. But yeah, and we've got someone coming to stay here to look after Layla, so while we're away. So that's good. So every Wednesday and Friday at the normal time of 6 p.m. British, it's still summertime, we will be publishing the videos. Okay. And yeah, I think that's all I had to say. Is there anything else? I hope I have answered the question of how many patterns there are, because of course it was 9 by 6. So each pattern you will have to make 6 times, and we have 9 different patterns. So we've done 1 and we will have 8 more. So I hope you will enjoy making the autumn walk mini version, the mini version on Wednesday, and we will have on Friday, we will have the Lizzie. Yes, the Lizzie blanket. So there as well, I chose a week, and I think you can all guess which week it was. Yes. And I rejiggled it, sort of formed it, remodeled it to fit into the Anna square. So in a way, we are learning so many more squares. And yes, I have seen that some of you are saying, oh, I'm going to make or use another pack and make double the squares and make 2 blankets. Perfectly fine, perfectly fine. Also, yes, Bridget, beans, yes. But these individual squares, each in their own right, can make a new blanket as well. You know, if you make that amount of those particular squares, you've got a new blanket. Now, there is a new square in there, but that's not yet for this week. Okay, so I have designed a brand new square just to make sure that not everything is repeated. But yes, autumn walk, which is slightly smaller, but it will work out, and the Lizzie square. Okay, so everybody, I hope you will have a lovely week, and I hope to see you next week so that we can have a little party and chat about the things that you've been making during the week and that you liked, the smaller versions of the things that we've done larger in the past. Thank you everyone for being here, and I will see you next week. Bye. Bye bye.